If you've been around lifted Subarus for any amount of time, you've probably heard the clicking. And well, most people will just go ahead, turn up the radio and ignore it. Well, until your CV axle decides to explode. So today we're going to be looking at a CV axle to see what is exactly happening when you start getting those dreaded clicks from your Subaru, as well as discussing what are some options to prevent it from happening, what are the best axles to go ahead and replace it with, and everything else related. And if you work on Subarus as much as me, whether it be at Flat 4 Off-Road or my own personal builds, you start building up a little bit of a collection of axles, whether they are damaged or you just have spares, you end up collecting a few of them. And today I have 2 of them from my collection. They're actually quite a bit different, and we're going to be looking at one really in depth to show you what exactly is going on, but I wanted to show you a couple things here. So first and foremost, as I said, we have 2 axles. This is a front off of a new generation car, or a global platform car. It's actually off of a 2021 Crosstrek, one you might have seen on this channel a couple times. So shout out for Jeff letting me use this for my videos, as well as one that is actually from my Black Forester here. This is a rear axle. So again, looks a little bit different, but it is still a Subaru axle. And well, I happen to shear the threads off of this one. So this one's actually still a good known axle. It's just I would need to essentially cup the front, which is something for a little bit later down the road. So if you're interested in that, let me know down below, and we'll get subscribed, because I will definitely be looking at trying to rebuild axles, especially for my Forester. As promised, though, we're going to be looking at this one. This is a modern generation, and honestly, a lot of you guys watching the video probably have a more modern generation car, so you're probably curious. Looking at this axle, you're definitely going to tell that we had a little bit of fun already because, well, it's in a couple pieces. And before we get any farther, I did want to point out the differences between this axle and, let's say, our old generation here. So obviously, front and rear are going to be a little bit different. The thickness of the shafts will be a little bit different. And as far as I know, the actual inner workings of these are a bit different. I am doing some research in how we can go ahead and rebuild these. As far as I know, it might be possible to rebuild old generation ones, but this new generation one does have some limitations, which I'll get to in a minute. But other than that, you'll see that the joints are a little bit different on this. And most importantly, our front axle here has a much better range of motion on, well, our steering axle than our rear would, right? Because we're going to be steering with this axle, it obviously has a little more going on in here. And that is, as far as I believe, our big limitation and our big limiting factor of why this isn't rebuilt and in Jeff's car. But anyways, we'll go ahead. With our old axle put away again, we'll go ahead and dive into this. So many of us are probably pretty familiar with boot failures or boot rips, especially as we take these cars off-road. What happens is eventually you get a boot failure, and this will start to allow, well, dirt and debris inside this inner working mechanism. This isn't what happened on this one. This one was because of the high angle of attack, we started to see failure. But if you're here because of a boot failure, the good thing is you can actually replace these boots with upgraded ones pretty easily if you choose to. Unfortunately, because again, we're on the front here, we have to go ahead and slide this boot all the way down here to go ahead and change it. But this part right here, it uses a ball bearing and a race. It does not come off. And I'll repeat that. You cannot take this part off. This part comes off. This part, as far as I know, does not come off. So that is definitely a challenge with these. But if you're rebooting it, what you can do is you can go ahead and take this off and take off your C-clip right at the end of this guy and go ahead and, well, slide this boot off and then slide this boot off and reboot it. So if you are looking to extend the life of your axles, highly recommend it. But if you have a failure where it's clicking and your boot is still fine, well, that is where we end up in one of these situations where we start to see a failure in the actual axles themselves. As you can see, we have it taken apart, and it's not a very complex system. There's not a lot going on here. So when you get your axle apart here, this will all be like this and your boot will be on here. Snip this steel band off and then you'll have this little guy right here. I'll put this back where it belongs so you can see that holds these bearings that run in these tracks right here attached to this in here so they can't pop out. So you're going to have to want to take this clip out and then your whole axle will fall apart. It's going to be a lot dirtier. There's going to be a lot more grease in here, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to come up with 3 of these bearings, this and this. Where we're seeing failure typically is in the cup itself, which gives us some hope that theoretically, if we're just seeing failure in these, we can go ahead and reboot it. That is something that we have been testing, and we will dive into the cages on this and see if these are clicking. But most of the time, it's actually the clicking in here, and I'll show you exactly why. And we need to take a closer look at this guy. So as I mentioned, this is your inner cup here, and these slide in here, right? And they move in and out compared to where your axle is. That's where it gives you a little bit of range with suspension. If you look very closely on here, it's gonna be hard, but you're gonna see that there's 2 scoring lines on here. And those 2 scoring lines actually mean that this bearing is shifting back and forth in here and will ultimately making the click. And with that clicking, you can actually tell we do have a little bit of plane here. This isn't as tight as, well, it really should be. So when you get that clicking, it's shifting back and forth and ultimately making these 2 scoring lines. And you can see all over this cup here, we're getting 2 different lines of scoring. So that's a good indication that these were clicking. As mentioned, the car was driving with these axles, but was starting to click pretty badly. Now, how long could we have gotten away with these? It's always really hard to tell, especially with these lifted Subarus. All it would take is a simple one of these bearings to go ahead and, well, loosen up or kind of shift in place. And all of a sudden, your axle, next time it moves, it binds up and grenades itself. So it's always, well, still drivable, advisable that once it starts clicking, go ahead and start looking at replacements. Now for replacements, I'm going to touch on that in a little bit, but there is some good options and then there's some really, really, really bad options. And now you're probably saying, well, why? Why my lifted Subaru? Well, it's because you have a lifted Subaru, unfortunately. Because we're running these cars out of the design specifications, we are pushing the limits of what the CV axles are designed for. And once you have that, you're gonna have premature wear and eventually premature failure. It's just a matter of fact when you are pushing the limits of the cars. As you lift the car up, especially here, we'll talk about this a little bit in the front where there is no subframe spacers or no easy way to do subframe spacers, you're increasing the angle in which our axle is gonna be at, right? So the higher the angle, the more stresses it's going to be associated with when you are driving, whether that be hitting bumps or going around corners. And the reason we see this inner fail more than this outer is because the outer, as I said, has those ball bearings, it has the cages, so it's already designed for high angles of attack when you're turning. So when you're turning and you're at a high angle, it is designed for that. I'm not saying that you're not going to see your outer fail, because that has happened as well. But typically the outers fail when the boot has failed. Your inners, as I said, this boot is still freshly clean. There is no leaking grease, no dirt in it, and it still started to click. So the clicking coming from the inside is going to be premature wear. Where, as I said, the outer, a lot of times that clicking is because, well, your boot is ripped and, well, you should probably replace that before it fails. And now you're probably saying to yourself, well, Chase, what is the limit that I can do without having problems like this? And well, I'm going to tell you kind of our experience because as many of you know, I own Flap for Offroad and I dare say it, we might have lifted or we might be lifting more Subarus than anyone else in the world. We specialize in the adventure Subaru community here in Canada. And well, the amount of Subarus that came through this door for lifts is probably a lot more than many companies. So I'm going to go from our experience there. And this is what I tell every one of our customers. 2 inches is about as far as you want to go if you want some reliability. You can go 2.5, you can go 3, but your reliability is just gonna plummet. And if you're wanting to keep it reliable for long road trips, maybe stick to that 1.5 or inch lift, and then you won't have issues later down the road when you start pushing the limits of the car in other ways. My Forester here has over 400,000 on the factory axles with an 1.5 lift, and it still isn't clicking. That said, if I went to 2 inches, these front ones would probably start to give out really quickly. So if you're looking for longevity, stay under those 2 inches. 1.5 or 1 inch will be your best bet. But if you're looking for both the maximum amount of clearance, both under the car and in the wheel wells, while not stressing out the CVs too much, 2 inches is definitely the way to go. That said, there is some caveats to that. If you're doing about 2 inches, you're gonna wanna go ahead and look at rear subframe spacers. As I said, front subframe spacers, that's a whole nother ball game. You have to go ahead, lengthen hoses, lengthen your steering column, and it's really for the people looking for the most extreme builds. But here in the rear, you can go ahead and do subframe spacers, giving your rear axles a little more room to breathe without too much work. So what happens is essentially your old driveline is sitting on a subframe that is mounted by 4 bolts right into the unibody and a couple up front here. What you can do is go ahead and drop that down with spacers, and that will go ahead and give you a little bit more room to breathe on the axles, essentially turning a 2-inch lift to an inch lift, or even less, depending on what subframe spacers you choose to go with. The only downside of this is you're essentially giving yourself more clearance between the tire and the body, but you're not giving yourself more clearance from the ground to the rear differential or the subframe. So there is that caveat, but again, bigger tires, you're gonna go ahead and lift the car up with the tires. So it's always a trade-off, but as I said, 2 inches with rear subframe spacers is the best and probably the most recommended setup I would do. But let's say your axle did finally let go. Maybe you went to that 2-inch mark, or maybe you're pushing the limits at 3 inches and well, they decided to let go. So what do you do now? What axles do you put back in your lifted Subaru? Well, I have one answer and one answer for you. Subaru OEM. You're looking for something that is other than Subaru OEM, with one exception, which I'll talk about here in a second, is you're going to have a premature failure. There is other brands. You can go to O'Reilly's or Napa here in Canada and get their in-house brand, or as well as a couple other brands you would find on Rock Auto. But truth is, they're going to fail quicker than Subaru OEM. Subaru OEM is just a better axle to begin with. That's why, as I said, with Jeff's axles there, we went ahead and got a used set of OEM low mileage axles and rebooted them with high quality grease, ensuring that that car is gonna get another 100,000 out of those axles. If we went and put in some Napa axles, honestly, with a 2, it's a little over 2 inches, it probably would kill the axles in under 30,000 kilometers. So you gotta be willing to take that risk if you're gonna go ahead and do that. Is your time worth the extra $200 for axles? Or in the States, I know you can get OEM for a little bit cheaper. Maybe grab some new OEM axles. All these heavy duty axles, all these extended axles, they do have additional features. They say they're heavy duty, but at the end of the day, after all the testing, all the people we've talked to, they're not really the best option to go for, unfortunately. That said, if you had good luck, drop a comment down below and let me know. I'm always curious to see what you guys are running. And I said Subaru OEM with one exception, and that's Porsche 930 axle shafts. There's a company down in the States called Subaru that makes or modifies Porsche 930 axles and builds them for our Subarus so that they can take much more angle and they're a ton stronger. The only problem is they cost a ton of money. So it's really for those people that will have deep pockets and are looking to push their Subaru to the absolute limit, 3-4 inches without subframe spacers. And honestly, something I would love to do at some point. But as I said, if you're looking for relatively affordable Subaru axles, go OEM and save the headache for changing axles every 30,000 kilometers. Unless you like visiting your local O'Reilly's or Napa auto store to exchange those axles and having your car as probably a second and not your daily driver. And with that said, when you're working on your car, whether it's changing the oil or doing a modification, take a quick second and check those axle boots and make sure, you're not losing all your grease and gonna have a clicking axle here soon. And if you are going above those 2 inches, just make sure that you're prepared to eventually change your axle. Let me know down below what you guys are running for axles, what you're running for lift, and how lucky you have been. Sometimes it is just a little bit about luck. And with that said, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of our lifted Subaru ventures here on the channel, and check out the channel memberships for some exclusive perks. And finally, if you're in Canada and you're wanting to build yourself an off-road Subaru or looking for someone to do it for you, reach out to us at Flat4 Off-Road and we can help you get ready for any adventure, even if it means lifting your car above those 2 inches. With that said, we're gonna wrap up today's video and we'll be seeing you guys on the next adventure.